If you enjoy what you hear here today, please consider supporting me on my Patreon page. Every dollar helps, and you get to see content that you won't see here. Chapter 5. You always keep your promises, right? Rainbow spent the rest of the afternoon hanging outside the school, anxiously waiting for Scootaloo to finish her day. Much to her relief, she didn't see a lightning strike or any of the guards near the school grounds. Despite the lack of immediate danger, she still couldn't get Lightning's threat out of her head. After what seemed like an eternity, a gaggle of school-aged fillies and colts burst through the double doors that marked the schoolhouse. At the tail end of the pack was Scootaloo and her two fellow crusaders, Applebloom and Sweetie Belle.
Hey, Rainbow Dash!
Scootaloo said before turning to her friends.
I forgot to tell you that Rainbow and I were gonna practice flying after school. I'll see you guys tomorrow, okay? Sure, Scoots, but don't you want us to come with?
Asked Applebloom while Sweetie Belle nodded in confirmation.
Nah, it's cool.
Applebloom shrugged.
Okay. Later, Scoots. Bye, Rainbow Dash.
Applebloom said as she and Sweetie Belle trotted off on whatever misadventure they had planned. Rainbow Dash and Scootaloo waved goodbye as they watched the two trot down the path that led out of the schoolyard.
You haven't told them anything, have you?
Rainbow Dash asked as she turned to look at Scootaloo. The little filly pinned her ears back to her head.
No, I don't want any pony to know,
she said quietly.
Hey, that's totally your call. If any pony asks, I'll just tell them you're staying with me for a few days, like a big sister sleepover type thing. Wait, you're saying I can stay with you? Yeah, FPS is gonna conduct an investigation, and hopefully they'll put Lightning away for a long time. In the meantime, you can stay with me if you want to. Otherwise, I'm sure Fluttershy or Twilight would be happy to have you. Are you kidding? This is gonna be so cool!
Scootaloo jumped up and down as her wings buzzed with excitement.
All right, kid. Let's go get you settled in, eh?
The two ponies walked along to the field where Rainbow Dash's house was still hovering. Scootaloo looked up at the cloud hovering 20 feet in the air with a look of trepidation on her face.
Rainbow Dash? If I'm gonna stay with you, how am I gonna get up and down from the cloud? What? Oh. Yeah, that's a good question. I can carry you, and Fluttershy or Derpy can if one of them is around, but we'll need a better solution.
Rainbow looked up at the cloud pensively for a moment, until a smile began to grow on her face.
Haha! Cloud ladder! Huh? We can build a cloud ladder. That's a thing? Sure, Squirt. You can make clouds into pretty much anything, and if I anchor it into the foundation, that'll keep it from dissolving or drifting away. And this way, Earth ponies still won't be able to get to my house. Are you worried about that?
Scootaloo asked. Rainbow Dash tried to recover from the surprise she felt at that statement. Yes, she was worried, but there was no sense in scaring the kid.
Not really, but it can't hurt to be careful, right? Come on, you can help. I don't know anything about shaping clouds,
Scootaloo said softly as she looked at the ground and blushed. She got her Pegasus genes from her dad, and because he wasn't around, she often felt she was missing out on a lot of things other Pegasi took for granted. Rainbow Dash just smiled.
You're Pegasus, kid. It's just like working with clay.
She flew up and grabbed an errant cloud before wrestling it to the ground.
All right, here. Break off a piece and roll it into a snake, just like you would if you were making clay coils. I'll need 14 of them about 3 feet long each.
Scootaloo apprehensively tried to grab a piece of the cloud and, much to her delight, she found that it broke off easily. It had the approximate texture of cotton, but unlike cotton, it stayed in whatever shape she molded it into. After a few failed attempts, she found the right mix of pressure and forgiveness needed to shape the cloud and happily set off making coils. While Scootaloo was experiencing the joys of building with clouds, Rainbow set to work on anchoring the ladder. She shaped 2 thick links out of the cloud that supported her house and hammered them into the foundation. Then she set about making 4 long cloud coils from another errant cloud that was passing by, and made a mental note to order more clouds from the weather factory in Cloudsdale.
Okay, Rainbow Dash, I'm done making coils,
Came a voice from the ground.
Atta girl, Scoots. Now take 2 of the coils and twist them together, kind of like what I'm doing up here.
She demonstrated by taking 2 of her long coils and intertwining them, wrapping one around the other. Satisfied that the 2 strands were connected, she gave the rope a few firm tugs, ensuring that it wouldn't break.
You should have 7 of them when you're done.
Scootaloo did as Rainbow instructed, and Rainbow set about intertwining the other coils to make the second long cloud rope. Satisfied that it was strong enough, she set about looping both ropes into the links she had hammered into the foundation. Rainbow Dash then flew over to Scootaloo's makeshift workstation and took her 7 smaller rope coils. She went on working while explaining the next step.
Okay, kid, now we just tie the ends of your short strands around the 2 long strands like this. And voila! Cloud ladder. Pretty neat, huh? Awesome!
The little filly replied with her usual characterization of most things that Rainbow Dash did.
Go on, give it a try,
urged Rainbow. Scootaloo approached the ladder and gingerly tested it out with her hoof. She put her weight on it and found that the clouds held firm. With a little giggle of delight, she happily scampered up and down the ladder a few times before Rainbow Dash picked her up and flew her up to the top of the cloud.
Okay, that's enough for now, kid. But hey, now you can come and go whenever you want.
Scootaloo turned and wrapped her forelegs around Rainbow Dash, giving the larger Pegasus a tight hug.
Thanks, Rainbow Dash. You're the best.
Rainbow felt her heart melt a little at the gratitude over what was really such a small gesture.
Sure thing, Squirt,
she said as she hugged the filly back. When they got inside the house, Rainbow immediately locked the door behind them. She filled Scootaloo in on Celestia's visit, leaving out Lightning's threat at the end.
So, does this mean they're gonna arrest him?
The young filly asked.
I hope so. You're probably gonna have to talk with some ponies from FPS. When you do, you just need to tell them everything you told me, okay?
Scootaloo nodded, a worried look settling in.
But what if they don't believe me? Like my mom.
Rainbow winced at that question. She didn't have a good answer. She knew that these investigations could sometimes get it wrong. And because it was the word of a filly against not only a decorated officer, but the filly's mother too, the odds were not in her favor. But Rainbow decided that Scootaloo didn't need to know that particular bit of information.
Just be honest. It'll all work out. I promise. And you always keep your promises, right, Rainbow? You got that right. But, don't you have some homework to do?
That question elicited a pout from the little filly. But soon enough, Scootaloo was busy working on her homework, while Rainbow Dash headed upstairs to the room she normally used as storage. There was some excess exercise equipment, some Wonderbolt's paraphernalia, and other assorted knickknacks that she had collected over the years just kind of strewn about. When she was building her house, she had always planned to make this room into a combination of a trophy room and a home gym, but she usually wound up training outside, and she preferred to keep her trophies in her bedroom where she could see them before she went to sleep. She still didn't know how long Scootaloo would be staying, but it couldn't hurt to have a guest room. And if it ended up being a permanent accommodation, would that really be so bad? She boxed up the odds and ends and threw them in the closet. The room felt smaller after that, now that it was empty. But Rainbow was already imagining how it would look with a cloud bed and a dresser, maybe a small desk in that corner. Rainbow wasn't usually one for the domestic things in life, but she couldn't help but enjoy herself as she imagined what the room would look like, filled with furniture for a small filly. although cleaning out the spare room had taken significantly longer than Rainbow Dash had expected. When she glanced out the window, the sight of the sun going down told her that she should probably get started on making something for dinner. Ultimately, she decided on a couple of daisy burgers with hay fries, because that was one of the few things she could reasonably expect to make without burning it. Much to her delight, Scootaloo wolfed down her dinner, grinning happily the whole time. After dinner, the two Pegasi agreed to work as a team to do the dishes, including the pile that had accumulated in Rainbow's sink. Rainbow would wash the dishes and then hand them to Scootaloo to dry and put away. While washing a set of glassware, Rainbow noticed Scootaloo trying to carry a rather tall stack of dishes from the sink over to the cabinet.
Hey, careful there, Squirt,
she called out in a friendly warning.
Don't worry. Whoa, Rainbow Dash, I got this,
came the response from a mildly annoyed Scootaloo. However, her confidence was misplaced, and as soon as she said that, she lost her balance, and the tower of plates she was carrying began to topple. They crashed to the ground and shattered, despite the cloud floor.
Yeah, dang it, Scoots, I told you to be careful,
Rainbow said, louder and with a sharper edge to her voice than she had intended. Scootaloo went deathly still and began to quiver. A small whine of fear escaped her lips. Rainbow looked at the terrified filly and mentally kicked herself with both hooves. She set down the glass she was washing and slowly took a step towards Scootaloo. The young filly let out another frightened squeak, and Rainbow could have sworn her heart was breaking. She sat down just out of reach of Scootaloo and took a deep breath. Once she let it out, she started talking.
Hey, I'm sorry I yelled at you. It was uncalled for. Look, you should know that I'm gonna make mistakes at this. I've never really had to take care of any pony before. And as awesome as I am, this is all kinda new to me,
Rainbow said, hoping her joke would lessen some of the tension.
So, I guess I should tell you right now, I'm gonna yell at you sometimes, even though I probably shouldn't. And I'm gonna make you go to bed when I should probably let you stay up a little longer. At some point, I'll probably give you another scoop of ice cream when you've had more than enough. And I'm probably gonna make a lot of other mistakes that I don't even know about yet. But one thing I need you to know right now is that I will never hurt you, Scootaloo. That will not happen no matter what. Because it's wrong, and because nothing you could ever possibly do would ever make you deserve it. And because I never want to see that kind of fear in your eyes ever again. Okay?
The tiny filly nodded. Rainbow spread her forelegs, inviting Scootaloo to come in for a hug, which she gratefully did. Rainbow found herself squeezing just a little tighter than she normally would as the little filly began to calm down, secure in the warm embrace. Rainbow held on to Scootaloo for a good long while, rocking the both of them back and forth, trying to calm Scootaloo down as much as herself.
I'm sorry I broke the dishes,
Scootaloo said softly.
It's okay, Squirt. Why don't you go get a broom? We'll clean it up together, eh?
As Scootaloo ran off to find the broom, Rainbow was forced to remind herself why Scootaloo was staying with her. As much as they wanted to pretend that this was just a sleepover, Rainbow knew that it wasn't. And if this little incident with the dishes was any indication, Scootaloo was a lot more fragile than she let on. Rainbow made a mental note to be more careful in the future. She had to be. After the kitchen had been cleaned up, and the two played away the rest of the evening, Rainbow found herself again telling Scootaloo a bedtime story, the little filly comfortably nestled under the covers of the cloud bed.
And Shepard left Palavin, and the Griffins never bothered her again.
Rainbow finished her story and rustled Scootaloo's mane.
Good night, kid. Hey, Rainbow Dash? Yeah? I know you're scared. And I'm sorry. What? What are you talking about? This is me we're talking about, remember? I don't get scared. Rainbow, I'm not stupid. I can tell you're scared. And I know it's my fault.
Scootaloo said with a note of guilt that lent a sorrowful tone to her voice.
Hey, I thought I told you I didn't want to hear you say that again. But it's true. If I hadn't told you about lightning strike, you wouldn't be scared right now.
Rainbow Dash looked down at her. Protecting her from the truth meant making her more vulnerable. And right now, she wasn't sure that was really a good idea. She let out an audible sigh and sat down on the bed next to Scootaloo.
Okay, you got me. I am scared. But I'm scared because Lightning Strike is a bad stallion, and if you hadn't told me, I'd be safe. But you wouldn't be. And if I woke up one day and found out that you were seriously hurt or...
Rainbow Dash choked back a lump that seemed to stuck in her throat.
I wouldn't be able to forgive myself, Scoots. I wouldn't. I've drifted far away from my family, so I haven't really had much of one for a while, and...
Rainbow found her eyes getting misty. As she struggled to rein in her emotions, she was surprised to find that the little filly had sat up and wrapped a pair of tiny forelegs around her neck. Scootaloo nuzzled into the Cyan Pegasus as Rainbow wrapped a wing around her. She really did seem to be her little sister in every way that mattered.
This isn't how it's supposed to work, you know,
Rainbow said as she tried to laugh through her tears.
You're supposed to get upset, and I'm supposed to tell you that it's going to be okay. We can't go flipping the script.
Scootaloo opted to remain silent and redoubled her grip on the larger Pegasus. The two stayed like that for a moment, while Rainbow furiously fought to calm herself down. She focused on the small, warm body against her, the sensation she could feel of that tiny heart beating against her chest, and the way the small wings tickled her own. Slowly, she managed to find a sense of normality returning. Scootaloo was there, and she was okay. And right now, in that moment, that was all that mattered.
All right. Thanks, kid. I needed that.
Rainbow whispered.
Can you stay with me here? I don't like being alone at night.
Scootaloo asked, the fear in her voice masked by an earnest hopefulness.
Sure. I'd like that too.
Rainbow curled up on the bed, and Scootaloo snuggled up next to her, pressing her tiny body against that of the larger Pegasus. Rainbow gently nudged a pillow toward the younger Pegasus and took one for herself, wrapping her wing around the small body next to her for the second time in as many minutes. Scootaloo let out a small neigh of happiness and pulled the wing over her shoulders. Rainbow smiled as Scootaloo shut her eyes and drifted off to sleep with an adorably content grin plastered on her face. And soon, Rainbow found herself drifting off to dreamland as well.